Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. It's another Monday, the 9th of June, 2025. It's 11 a.m. Central European time. I'm a little bit later than normal, and we're back with another fun-filled show. Remember, it's a Monday, which means it's the charts day. We are going to be looking at Bitcoin dominance. We're going to look at DXY. We're going to be looking at Market Watch. This is the most important week in crypto ever. That's right. That is right. We're going to find out some key economic factors this week, which could cause Bitcoin to go up or come crashing down. We're going to have to wait and see. So we're going to have a look at the charts. We're going to talk a little bit about Russia. We're going to talk about Cardano. We're going to talk about a few scammy related things. We've also got, towards the end of the show, we're going to talk about Trump, but this time Eric. We're also going to talk about Libra, or Libra, should we say, and what's going on there. And we're going to do, again, something a little bit different. I'm going to put forward the case for Link, Chainlink, that is. So all of that in an hour with the X-Files. And, of course, we're going to look at the markets. But before we begin, a massive new week and a massive good morning to Manjeet, Bullish Bull, Danny is in chat, Kishan is in chat, and there's no hidden agendas this week. And hidden agendas, by the way, I still owe about 3 different prizes, but some of them are going to expire. Now, before we get into this, you will see, if I point like that, you will see Maple Quiz Night on Wednesday. We're going to do a Maple quiz. Now, many people have been saying that the quizzes are too easy. So we have decided to make an incredibly difficult quiz. And this time we're going to focus on Maple Finance. It's not sponsored. It's the prize comes out of our pocket. It has nothing to do with Maple Finance. It's completely unofficial. And we're going to give away either Syrup or Syrup USDC. I think we might give away Syrup USDC because it'll be easier to send to you on the Solana blockchain, and it'll be easier to send to you on Binance as well. So Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central European time, which is 6 p.m. in the UK, 5 p.m. UTC, Universal Time, I believe. Good morning, Cello Sky. And also, if you are watching on Binance this morning, I am sick and tired of the spam bots on Binance. So I've turned the chat off. If you want to have a conversation, there is a QR code there. See? QR code. Click the QR code. You'll come to the channel and you'll come to the live stream. And there you'll be able to communicate with the likes of Mags and Solo Sky and Danny and Bullish Bull. And of course, I will read your messages. Now, we're going to get on with the show because that is what we do. And let me know in chat how you are this week. Are you expecting a massive pump? Are you expecting us to dump? The poll question is the day, is Bitcoin going up or is Bitcoin going down this week? And again, $20 million question. Let me load the screen first of all. These things nowadays take a long time to open and get going. Give me a second. There we go. As if by magic, everything is appearing and everything is working. Yeah, the poll question of the day is Bitcoin going up? Is Bitcoin going down? So far, we've got 83% saying up and 17% saying going down. Again, a bullish crowd. That's what I like to see. Now, Bitcoin didn't really do anything this weekend. Had a little bit of a move up. Everyone was ecstatic that we'd broken 106,000. It isn't really a move. It's not a move. 103 to 108,000 roughly is where we are right now. That's the kind of range we are. And we whipped down to 100,400, I think it was. The Oracle predicted 3 weeks ago that we would come down to 100,500. And I said at the time that was way, way, way too negative. And what did we do? We came down to pretty much where he said. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Right. The Oracle is streaming tonight, I believe, at 9 o'clock. We will announce that on Telegram and we will announce that on X as well. So Bitcoin coming in at 106, Ethereum just under 2,500, XRP back over 220 at 224, BNB back at 650, Solana 151, all going very well. Cardano 66 cents, hype is still going. Don't think it's got the legs to break into the top 10. Don't think it's going to happen, but we spoke about that on Friday. Let's not go over it again. Gainers then over the last 24 hours. AB, ICP is up. Now, the interesting thing about ICP, I checked the 15,000 to 1 million portfolio. I checked it on this morning sometime, I think. And basically, my ICP pick is back at $750. $750 is where I invested into ICP in January. Was it January 2023? I think. So 2.5 years later, it's back at the same price. However, of course, the likes of XRP have done, I think, a 6x or something like that, 7x. So the portfolio is up. SPX 6900 is up. Now, the Oracle is doing a kind of Solana TA stream, and he's picked a couple of charts out which he's very bullish on. One is COM, which of course we've been talking about for a while. The other is SPX 6900, which I don't really want to talk about because other people talk about it. However, he did give you a 130 target, I think 132 for SPX, and he did that. I believe he streamed on Thursday and Saturday, and he picked it both nights as hitting that target and then coming down. I think we got somewhere near where he said. So if you were following him on his TA stream, you've done really well on a couple of the picks. He hasn't really picked too many bad coins. He's covered about 4 or 5 per stream, and he's doing quite well. And it is a bit of a change, don't get me wrong. We like to cover Bitcoin, of course, Ethereum, Solana, but the Oracle, he gets paid to cover these coins. Not these specific coins, but he gets paid to cover Solana coins on the streams that he does. So he's just picking out what he thinks are likely to run. Other gainers up there, Quant is still ticking up. $118. It's moving. Dog with Hat is up. Bonk is up. Again, interesting video I put out yesterday for the OGs, and I haven't told you about it, OGs. But I made a video yesterday, and it was called 2 warnings for this cycle, as in right now. 2 warnings about this cycle right now. And I'm not going to give away what those warnings are, but if you're an OG, if you are supporters on YouTube, go and watch that video, because there's 2 current narratives on X that I wholeheartedly disagree with. And one of them is to do with meme coins. So go and watch that video after this stream. Pendle is down a touch. The only real loser is the DEXY. The rest of them haven't really lost. One thing we haven't looked at, volume. Again, it's a Monday. We're under 100 billion. Bitcoin dominance, almost 64% on here. We're going to look at that in a minute. And Ethereum dominance up to 9.1. I think at one point it was down at 6.8. So overall, a reasonable start to the week. I don't think it's too bad. I keep thinking and praying that we hold 103. That's my goal. If we hold this for the next 3 or 4 weeks or go higher, I will be absolutely delighted. Good morning, KB, if I haven't said good morning to you in chat. Right then, let's get on with some X files. I've got a few of these today. Not too many. Again, it's sometimes I put things in and omit things. On a Monday morning, you get everything, because believe you me, the weekends are quiet. The markets are closed in America and the UK and everywhere else. So we basically don't have a great deal to cover on a Monday. So you get pretty much everything on a Monday. This is HODL 15, which we follow. There are only 1.1 million Bitcoin left to mine. Now, we're mining 450 a day. So you work out over the course of the next, what? You do the math. Year, we're probably going to get somewhere near 1 million less than 1 million left to mine. At what point do you think we're going to see real FOMO? Because we haven't seen FOMO yet. Retail is gone. Our videos aren't being watched. Other crypto streamers' videos are not being watched. We have no retail. A retail buying through ETFs, a retail buying through strategy shares. Where are they? Global liquidity, again, this is the buzzword. This wasn't one of my 2 warnings, but global liquidity has hit new highs. M2 growth is accelerating. Every time this happens, Bitcoin pumps. Crypto thrives on liquidity and the floodgates are opening. Remember, Bitcoin goes up, as do stocks, when money flows into the markets. Everything goes up when there's more money, because when you have a scarce asset and you print money, the money becomes worth less. So the asset isn't really going up in value. It just takes more of a worthless asset to buy it. Hard to get your head around, I know. Again, James Wynn, I think I said last week that I think he was a paid shill of Hyperliquid. Today, I was not paid a single cent by Hyperliquid, but he does believe that CZ's future perp decks could crush them. He wasn't paid a penny, which is what he says here, and I believe he has made several $1 million out of this fracas, this noise. I mean, it's been very entertaining to watch. To see somebody get liquidated 8 consecutive times, 10 consecutive times, has been fun to watch. A little bit like the Musk and Trump conversation. But you can't tell me that he's not been paid by Hyperliquid. That you can't tell me that they haven't given him a penny. You know, I think his donations pot is up to $2.4 million. I don't believe it. It smells. It absolutely smells. Right then, BlackRock's ETH ETF records 9 consecutive days of inflows, surging past $492 million. Now, the way I see the ETFs is we have 10 to 12 days of green days, and then we have 2 to 3 days of red days. So we're getting to the point this week where ETH will be maybe today and tomorrow inflows, and then maybe Wednesday or Thursday or Friday we will start to see outflows. It's been a pattern on Bitcoin for months. If you go and look at the charts, whenever we see 10 consecutive green days on Bitcoin, we do see about 3 red days. Now, I'll take that every single day. In a month, we're talking about 15 or 16 green days and 3 or 4 or even 5 red days. 75% of the month is Bitcoin being taken off the market. If that's the case for Ethereum, we're going to end up with a supply shock for Ethereum. Remember, $492 million is a lot more Ethereum than it is Bitcoin. I know Ethereum is 120 million or around that, but 422 million taken off the table is not bad. And don't forget, it's not quite deflationary, but it's not quite inflationary. Ethereum is kind of 1% inflation maybe. So it's not going to increase greatly over the next 5 or 10 years, unless they change the system, of course. Let's move on very quickly. I hope you are well as well, Solo Sky. Also, one thing I haven't included in the stream, the Huma pre-sale on Dupe. I don't know if any of you have had it, and I've not included it in today's stream, but I want to basically tell you about it. So you could claim or buy Huma at a discount if you were a Dupe staker. I got absolutely nothing. I got $15 of USDC, which I could buy Huma with. Of that, I was only allocated $10. So peanuts. But I now have vested about $65 worth of Huma. So it's a 6x. The problem is it won't be a 6x by the time it unlocks because it's likely to come crashing down. But even so, if you did take part in the Huma sale through Dupe, you are currently 6x up. But you will be able to reclaim the unused USDC. So I'm not going to go into it in too much depth. Go and have a look on Twitter. It all explains it on there. Now then, Crypto Burb, or Crypto Bird as I call him. I quite like following this guy. I never really bring up his tweets, but he's got quite a lot of useful insights. He is trying to sell giveaways trading team, but you know, I do follow him. And again, I'm including this because again, it's another price prediction. I made a video yesterday, 5 ways to buy Bitcoin with price predictions for 2025. If you want to know what I think Bitcoin is going to do this year and in 2030, go and watch my video. It's 10 minutes, 12 minutes long. Go and watch it if you can. Now, he predicts 310,000 by the end of this cycle. My target is a lot lower than that. But I'm not going to tell you what it is because I want you to watch my video. Anyway, let's move on. This is the last one, and then we're going to get into the markets a little bit. Bitcoin exchange balances. Now, this is a new Twitter account I have started to follow. They don't have a lot of followers. I found it the other day on X. I'm starting to follow it. All they do is tweet the balance on exchanges. That is all they do. And as you can see, Bitcoin exchange balance, that's their job. Now, only 8,000 people follow this. This is going to be 200, 300,000 followers within the next 6 months because this is quite useful information. Now, the important thing on this account is it gives you a kind of breakdown of what exchange volumes are. You'll see that they reply to people with the amounts. 27 minutes ago, there are only 2.1 million Bitcoin on exchanges, 10% of the circulating supply. That is down in the last hour and a half by 80. Doesn't sound a lot, doesn't sound a lot. I think when we break 2 million, I think that is when it's going to hit the fan. Because I think that's going to hit the news. Less than 10% of Bitcoin is on exchanges. Less than 2 million Bitcoin left in the world. Bitcoin is running out. All the wealthy people are buying it. The World Economic Forum are buying it. It's a conspiracy theory to make rich people richer and poor people poorer. Even though we've had 14 years to buy Bitcoin, we ignored it and then want to blame the rich people for buying it. Major US economic reports this week. Monday, Tuesday, unimportant. That is the killer week. CPI, core CPI. That's the week. This is what we want to focus on. Now, I believe we have a forecast and a previous. And the forecast is that it will go up. Now, again, I think it's going to go up. Truflation tells us it's going to go up. If inflation goes up a little bit, what does that mean? It means we get no rate cuts. People are telling us all over X that we're going to get rate cuts and we're going to go to the moon. Ladies and gentlemen, I haven't packed my bag for the moon because I think CPI is going to be higher. I don't think we're going to get a rate cut. I think we've pretty much been told we're not going to get a rate cut in June. So I expect us to maybe wobble around and come down to maybe 103,000, something like that, 102,000. I don't think we're going to get a rate cut. On Thursday, we're going to get jobless claims. Again, what we want is inflation down, job claims up, and housing prices down. They're the three things. But again, PPI is coming in there. Friday, yeah, important. Now, I believe on the 18th, we get the decision. There we go. So next Wednesday, a week on Wednesday, we get the decision. But next Wednesday, we get the data. So what will that will mean that between next Wednesday and the Wednesday after, we're going to have all of these experts telling you what's going to happen with Bitcoin. And then on Wednesday next week, we're going to find out, does he talk on Wednesday or does he talk on Thursday? He talks on Thursday. Okay, so next, a week on Wednesday, Powell is going to stand there and tell you the same thing he's told you for the last, I don't know, 6 months. And Donald Trump is going to hit the roof. and it will be more than Elon Musk with a black eye. Crazy stories about how Elon Musk got that black eye, by the way, which are not for this stream. Let me load up now. This one's taking a while. Oh, by the way, we are at 212,000 followers. If you are following us, thank you. If you are not, please do so. Now then, this is the US dollar index. Wow, my computer is slow today. Really, really slow today. I don't think I've got anything running I can close down. It's just slow. Right then. We are following my pink line. And that is, I think we're going to come back down towards 97.7, 98, and then I think we're going to rebound back up. We have been down here for, well, ever since the tariffs. The tariffs happened here. That's where the tariffs happened. And we fell, and we're going to bounce. Now, other important things happening this week, which could affect the DXY. China and America are meeting in London, and I think it's today or tomorrow, to discuss tariffs. They're meeting in person. This is a big meeting because America and China is really the only one that matters. Japan a little bit, Europe a little bit, but China's one that matters. I think the negotiations are not going to be finished on Tuesday or Wednesday. Again, the crypto experts out there are going to tell you that they're going to sit down on Tuesday, have a cup of tea and a scone, and then sort everything out in half an hour, wrap up and head home. No, this is going to drag on for a few weeks. We have, I believe, until either the 9th of July or the 9th of August for this to be resolved. So expect them to be rounds and rounds of different meetings. I don't think it's going to be, maybe there's an in-principle meeting to extend, maybe there's an in-principle meeting to do whatever. But again, I don't see this bouncing until they are sorted out. And when it is sorted out, I certainly think we're going to go back over 100, which again is not big. It's not a big move, but this is the DXY. These things move in nice patterns. You know, we've got patterns, nice patterns. This just happens to be a lower dip, but don't think we haven't been down here before, because we had a bigger dip back here, which was from June 2020 to April 2022. So we have been lower. This is not, you know, Trump may be many things, but he has not single-handedly ruined the American economy yet. So let's not blame him for absolutely everything. Other things are in play. Now then, let's move on. See if we can get these charts done without the stream lagging too much. Good morning, Tariq. I hope you are well. I have a little notification now that tells me. Right then, this is the chart that keeps charting. If you want a charty chart, this is your charty chart. And this is your Bitcoin dominance, the strength of Bitcoin against absolutely everything else. I believe I've already taken off pretty much all of my TA from this. And very simply put, it's a runaway train. And it's not just a runaway train, but now I've taken all the stuff off. You can see this. I mean, this. It's like watching a 5-year-old play hopscotch. Look at that. When does it stop? Now, clearly, and I want to make things very clear, Bitcoin dominance cannot go higher than 100%. There's a fact for you that you won't get anywhere else. Number two, Bitcoin dominance to be at 80% or 90% would probably need the rest of the market to not move and Bitcoin to do probably a 4x. That's very unlikely to happen. So we're probably looking at somewhere between here and 70%, I would say. And again, one of these things that you should bear in mind is that this is going to break down at some point, but probably it will not do what it did over here. Now, we spoke about it doing this a while ago, and we've been talking about this for a long time. But I've also said that ETFs have broken the Bitcoin chart. And it's not just the price of Bitcoin it's broken Bitcoin dominance. How can alts compete with Bitcoin when Bitcoin has billions and billions of dollars a month piling into it from the ETFs? How are the alts meant to run when Bitcoin is simply being bought by treasuries, nation states, the riche, the nouveau riche. Old money is buying Bitcoin. Everybody is buying Bitcoin. If you go to any conference now and you say, what 5 or 6 cryptocurrencies are you buying? I guarantee you they're only saying Bitcoin. So, this is not likely to stop for a long time. The impact of this not stopping is alt season. Even if we were to say Bitcoin dominance needs to break down here, maybe it comes down to here, 55%. What would that do to the alts? Well, they'd certainly have an absolute massive run. What are the chances of us coming down to 54, 55%? I don't think there is a chance at this moment in time. I don't see a catalyst for the alt season. I don't see it. I don't know where it is. We're in June. We haven't broken down. This happened in March. Now, if you look at this, and let's say we talk about this in a cyclical way, okay? This started in March, and then this Bitcoin dominance stayed down here, or it hit the depth, should we say. Let's say that period there. Now, when did we get all-time highs? There. We got all-time highs around about November 2021, but it broke down in March. Now, where is March on here? March is there. So, we've done this. Now, we've done this. So, my argument, rightly or wrongly, is that we can't look at 2021 because we're not replicating what happened, because we now have a new dynamic. Institutional adoption, sovereign state adoption, whatever you want to call it. So I don't see how this breaks down massively. I mean, we want it to do this, of course we do. But even this would give us hope, Joanna. So again, Bitcoin dominance showing no sign whatsoever of slowing down. I mean, it will come to a point where it simply doesn't go up. And I know a lot of people are looking at this. A lot of people are saying that we are going to break down. A lot of people, a lot of people are saying that it will top out. And yes, it probably will top out. Where and when and what? If we're at 65% Bitcoin dominance in November, are we going to have the bear market? Are we going to have a continued bull run, or is the macro going to take over? And the macro is, allegedly, that we're going to have a recession next year. People have been saying we're going to have a recession for many years. People are telling us that a recession in 2026 is nailed on. Is that going to bring down Bitcoin? Well, if it does it bring down Bitcoin to where? Do we go from 150 to 100? Do we go from 150 to 60? Do we have mass capitulation? Most of the Bitcoin that's being bought is by institutions and Michael Saylor, of course. So if they keep buying Bitcoin and they've got no plans to stop buying Bitcoin for the next 3 years, and then the American government starts buying Bitcoin, where is our fabled alt season? We're going to be looking for a unicorn at this rate. We're going to be going out looking for unicorns and yetis. I just don't see it. Now then, something else that didn't play out was my pink Bob Ross line here, so we can delete that because I was wrong. But what have we done? We've come and we've bounced here. So we've bounced off this line here, which is 3.18. And as we told you last week, I think if we go back there, there's a 3.18 line over there. We don't want to talk about this too much because we've got a lot to talk about. Again, the target is 3.64. That's where we need to break. I think the majority of that increase is going to be in Bitcoin. To do that, however, that would be a 10% pump in Bitcoin, which would put us back at 112,000 all-time highs. But to break an all-time high, you've got to get to the all-time high. So again, what do I think this week? If we get really bad news, we could come back down to here, which is 3.02. And again, that's a 5, 6, 7% drop. in the overall market cap. That is absolutely possible. If CPI comes in hot, we are going down. If it comes in on target, we will have a bit of a shakeout. And if it comes down lower than expected, then we're going to go up. That's your three scenarios. We go up, we go down, or we don't move. Again, politicians answer, but how can I don't read the future. I don't read the future. I'm telling you what's going to happen. But this macro and CPI and everything else that's going on, the tariffs, how are we supposed to give you any direction when it's impossible to know what's being said behind those four walls? Now, this is the altcoin market. We did come all the way down here. I did suggest again we would come down further. I was being Mr. Bully Bear, but we bounced, and look what we've done. We've come back to the bull market support band. If we do break down, I do think we would come down to 720. That is a 10 or 15% correction in the altcoin market if it all goes south. So overall total market cap will come down about 6 or 7%. Altcoins will come down about 15% if we get really bad data. And again, I can't predict what that data is going to be. Truflation tells us it's creeping up. They're predicting it's going to go up. But until Wednesday, we're not going to know. And then we have to wait another week till the following Wednesday to find out. Now, before we get on with the news, there are a few latecomers in here. Tariq and Solo Sky. I think even KB might have missed it. This is the news that next Wednesday we have a Maple quiz. Now, it's been too easy. KB and Mary and Hidden Agendas have wiped the floor with you. You've been absolutely crushed, okay? It's like having 3 Thanoses in chat. You've been destroyed, and I appreciate that. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a killer quiz. This quiz that I have written, I have had it checked and verified by Maple Finance to make sure I've not put anything in that's wrong. They've double-checked it. They're happy with it. This is on Wednesday. And believe you me, it's a stinker. Nobody is getting 30, not even Tariq. Although Tariq says one thing in chat today about him not winning. He's going to be on -1 for the start of the quiz. Let's just point that one out there. We could handicap people. That would be a good idea. We could start KB, Mary. Who else wins? Hidden Agendas. Danny wins a few times. We could basically take a point off you every time you win to handicap you. That's not a bad idea. Anyway, that's on Wednesday. So we will be streaming the quiz probably as this CPI data comes out. So we will probably have a quick look at the charts before we begin on Wednesday. But anyway, let's get back on with the show. We have a lot to talk about. Moscow, as they pronounce it, exchange debuts Bitcoin futures on Ibit. Now, we have a lot to thank Joe Biden for. We have a lot to thank Boris Johnson for. And before you get up in arms and say, what on earth are you talking about, crazy fool? Without Boris Johnson and Joe Biden, we wouldn't have cut Russia off from SWIFT. When we cut Russia off from SWIFT, we weaponized the payment systems around the world. And we weaponized it in such a way that very big countries like China and India and Russia realized what could happen if they stepped out of line. So what Russia and China and India and the other states associated with them, they decided to look at blockchain technology. Now, USDC and USDT, they are both, they're not really cryptocurrencies. They're centralized with Circle and Tether, and there's contracts in there that can be frozen. So basically, Russia and China can't use dollar for dollar, but they can use Bitcoin. So we have a lot to thank Johnson and Biden for, because they forced Russia and China to look at the blockchain in ways that they wouldn't have done had they not weaponized the payment system. Now, part of this is, of course, China not allowing their population to buy Bitcoin. Russia was the same. Then both Russia and China unlocked it for the rich people in China and rich people in Russia. And I don't think we'd have that headline if we hadn't have done what we did what we did. So anyway, you can now basically buy futures on BlackRock's ETF. What does that mean? It means that BlackRock's ETF, it's a spot ETF, so it tracks the price of Bitcoin. You can buy through the Moscow exchange futures on basically Bitcoin, but it's not Bitcoin, it's BlackRock. So they're kind of getting around the back, if you like, to get some kind of Bitcoin exposure. So Catena, oh, that's the location, sorry. They launched the cash-settled Bitcoin futures contracts benchmarked to BlackRock's US-listed IBIT traded fund, making a key step in expanding crypto derivatives trading for qualified investors. When you see qualified investors, just read rich people. Rich people can do this and poor people can't. And this is one of the reasons why we want crypto, is to try and level the playing field. It's not going to happen. It's going to end up with Bitcoin being owned by the rich people. You just need to make sure that you go from being a poor person to a rich person by owning that Bitcoin. This development follows recent regulatory changes to the Bank of Russia, permitting licensed financial firms to offer crypto-based derivatives to rich people. Alongside this launch, Russia's central bank and Ministry of Finance are reportedly working on a government-backed crypto trading platform aimed at professional market participants. Read rich people. Experts say the new Bitcoin futures Bitcoin futures as part of a broader trend of gradual integration of crypto assets. That is, again, we're going to see this in China. We're going to see this around the world. If you can't offer the cryptocurrency itself, you're going to be able to offer the ETFs. It's good news for America. Again, it's good news for Russia, but it's sad when they gatekeep it. That's what I don't like. And if you go back about 2 years, we made a video about how Sam Bankman-Fried, BlackRock, and Coinbase were trying to set up and gatekeep Americans so they could only buy through Sam, Brian, and Larry. They were going to control the market in America. And that was very dangerous. Mark my words, that was very dangerous. And maybe it wouldn't have stood the test of time. But that's what people want to do. When you see the likes of Brian Armstrong, when you see the likes of Brad Garlinghouse, they are not good actors. There are a lot of people in crypto who you like, who are bad actors. They are not in it for the tech. They are not in it for you. They are not in it for democratizing finance. They're in it to control it, not make money. That's the misunderstanding a lot of people have, is that a lot of these people are in crypto to make money. They're not. They're in it to control crypto, because the same way that the likes of BlackRock control businesses, they want to control crypto because they realize it's an appreciating asset. And which one do they go after first? Bitcoin. What comes second is the banking institutions, and that's where XRP are getting involved. They want to be the partner of all the banks. They want to be everybody's friend. They're your friend. They're my friend. They're the friend of banks. And in the background, they are just controlling the payment systems. Talking of controlling the payment systems, Tether overtakes Tron and Dexes with $432 million in revenue. How and what next? Remember, stablecoins make all the money. Stablecoins make all the money. And we've covered this before. We covered it on Friday when I said the one that got away. Circle got away. Tether aims to launch its new blockchain that would use USDT as gas fees amid its consistent revenue generation. There's a lovely AI-generated picture of USDC with people walking around outside and a car. That's a thing of the past. A comparison of revenue between stablecoin issuers, stablecoin transport layers, and trading infrastructure suggested Tether was in the lead. Tether is profiting from Bitcoin and the $1 trillion in USDT transfers to launch a new blockchain project named Stable with another partner. Apart from offering exposure to cryptocurrency customers, stablecoins are expanding their application with integration into payments by major tech companies. That way, issuers like Tether and Circle are advancing their scope following huge revenues and greater adoption. And again, the only way Circle and Tether don't make more money is if crypto stops working. Crypto falls in value. But they are going to probably just get bigger and bigger. I said this on Friday, I'm not going to repeat myself, but they are going to be able to start buying out a lot of people. Anyone's a threat, they buy it out. eBay did this, by the way. You always wonder, how did eBay become the #1 auction house on the web? Did they do it by being the best? Did they do it by having more customers? No. There was a big provider in the UK, bought out. Massive provider in Italy, bought out. They basically bought everybody out because the Americans have more money. So they buy everybody out. Tether and Circle are going to acquire banks. Tether and Circle are going to acquire competitors. They're going to buy everybody out. That is a fact. There is no stopping them when they get to a certain size. And that's a good thing if you own shares in them, and it's a bad thing for competition. Tether continues to dominate. In the past 30 days, they have made $432 million. Pretty much, let's call it $15 million a day. Circle is making $60 million a day. $150 million a day. No, $15 million a day. Sorry, $15 million a day. From what? From issuing the stablecoin. So they posted 1.4 billion in revenue for 2024, valued at 16.7 billion after its IPO. Again, Circle's valuation for me at the minute is too high. But one or two things is going to happen. It's going to make more money because it'll issue more stablecoins, or it will fall in value and then I will pick it up. If valued by similar metrics, Tether, I think they said it would be worth $500 billion. Did they not say that Tether would be worth $500 billion? Tether achieved a major milestone surpassing $1 trillion. It's not got it in here. Basically, somebody said on X that Tether was going to be, if it IPO'd today, it would be worth $500 billion. That would put it probably where? Top 20? I think Ethereum is about 18th, and that's worth 300 billion. So Tether would probably be 14th, 13th, something like that, 500 billion. And again, it would IPO, which means the value would go a lot higher. Maybe it goes to $1 trillion. That puts it somewhere near the top 10. So again, we can't talk too much about that because it's a competitor, but they're going to launch their own chain. Stable coins, that's the key. The money has come in and the money has gone. There's only so much Bitcoin. How do we make money? We make money through stable coins. Tether is the giant. It's the absolute giant in the space. Now, we're not going to do an article now. We're going to do Chainlink. And the reason we're going to do Chainlink is I think people are missing a trick with Chainlink. They're not seeing Chainlink for what it is. Let's wait for this load. Can you please give some heads up about Bob meme on BNB chain? I know nothing about it. I don't do memes. Memes are not anymore. The reason we don't cover memes as much as we used to is because there are so many more bad actors in the space. When we covered memes, when we did Bonk and we did Pepe and we did all of those memes 2 years ago, we didn't have Pump.fun. So we covered them. Some of them had roadmaps, some of them had tokenomics. I don't do memes. I don't do them anymore. The Oracle, however, he's looking at some Solana memes. But again, we have stipulations. Has to be older than 60 days, has to have a market cap of a minimum, I think it's 50 or 100 million. That's what we have to do. So I can't look at meme coins anymore. Much as I like them, I can't sit here and say to you, Bob's going to go to 500 million when it's 3 weeks old and it's got 2 wallets that hold 50% of the supply, because that would be disingenuous and it would cause you to lose your money. My advice is, if you like Bob, buy $5. And then if it goes to 0, you've lost a coffee or several coffees wherever you are. But I won't really talk about them. If a meme coin goes to $1 billion, I will mention it, of course. But I'm not going to look at stuff that's that's lower than that. When we started, it was about getting attention. And now we're in this stage of the market. It's not about attention anymore. It's about having a responsibility. And, we're not that much bigger than where we were. We've got, 212,000 followers. But on X and YouTube, between them, we've got 14,000 followers. So we're not huge, but we do have, I think we now have a moral responsibility to not talk about stuff that's going to cost you money, or try to. Now, Chainlink. We talk a lot about institutional adoption, on and off ramping. We talk a lot about cross-chain interoperability. We talk about everything becoming one. Was that a song by the Spice Girls? No, that was To Become One. That's not the same thing. Now, Chainlink is at the heart of this. And Sergey Nazarov, I watched an interview with him, which is on here. And I'm not going to play it because we'll get copyright struck. But here it is. Now, I'm going to play it without the sound. Look at this man's face. This is a tired man. Sergey Nazarov is tired in this video. I am not a body language expert. He's leaning to one side. He's blinking slowly. He's got bags under his eyes. And you know why? Because he's spent 6 years getting Chainlink everywhere. The video, he talks about being in Dubai, in Frankfurt, in London. He talks about being in Washington. He is one of the most underrated CEOs of a blockchain there is. There's no bluster with him. There's no airs and graces. He's a little bit like Crongy, but less bullish. He knows his stuff. And I'm telling you because there is no company in Web3 that has fingers in every pie. Payments, AI, real-world assets, DeFi platforms, DEXs, cross-chain transfers via wormholes, Visa and MasterCard on and off ramping. Prices of cryptocurrencies. They're an oracle. They do everything. Now, they don't do everything in a way where they're stretched thin. They provide massive amounts of the same tools that can be used and integrated in different ways. So this was from 11 hours ago. Chainlink adoption update. Now, build on Bob, which I think is probably what Solosky is talking about. Maple Finance, Mind, Nuna Labs, Space and Time. Any more? And Tunnel. That is in a week. They've onboarded 8 integrations in a week. And that's just the start. I'm not going to go to the website because there's a lot of it. They are connecting Solana to everyone else. They're connecting Cardano via Chainlink to everybody else. Ethereum, clearly, they're connecting to everybody else. So when we talk about projects that are going to be here in 4, 5, 6 years' time, you have to put Chainlink into that bag. Now, like a lot of other altcoins, it doesn't perform. The money's going into Bitcoin. Chainlink, my target for Chainlink is $80 to $100. That's been my target since January 2023, probably when I put that together. Now, the eyes are not on Chainlink. That is why it is not up there. But look, we've had a pump, 106.6. Right, look at where Chainlink is. It's 13th. It's the 13th. 11th if you take out the 2 stablecoins. It's the 11th biggest by market cap cryptocurrency in the world. What's ahead of it? Serious companies. Sui, Cardano, Tron, Solana, BNB. Okay? It's 13th. But it's ahead of all of these coins that people tell you need to go and buy. It's the next big thing, like Toncoin. It's ahead of Hedera. It's ahead of Litecoin, which has fallen out the side of the top 20. It's ahead of Polkadot, which we won't talk about, Monero. So it's well positioned. It's at $14. Now, my prediction is a 6 to 7x away, which is starting to probably not look like it's going to happen if we don't have the alt season. Worst case scenario, $50 to $60. It's still a 5x, 4x from where we are now. But the case for Chainlink is not about, and I said this in a video I made the other week, the case for Chainlink is not about this cycle. The case for Chainlink is, if we have an alt season and we run up, and let's say it gets to $60 and you sell out a Chainlink, and then we go through a recession next year and Bitcoin comes down from 150,000 to, let's say, 100,000. Chainlink will obviously come down even more, so will all of the roads. So maybe it comes down from 60 to 15 again, where we are now, a little bit above where we are now. The question is, in 2027, what coins are you going to buy? Have you got a list of coins today that you're going to buy in 2 years' time? I haven't, because I don't know what's going to happen in the next 2 years. But I have got some coins that are going to be on the list. And one of them is Chainlink. One of them is Jupiter. Why? Jupiter is head and shoulders bigger than everything else. And until something changes in Jupiter, it's still going to have its market lead. It's the biggest oracle on the biggest blockchain. Chainlink is in with real world assets. How do you get real world assets onto the blockchain? You use Chainlink. How do you then on and off ramp money onto the blockchain? You use Chainlink. Chainlink has, we want a spider's web. But imagine it's a spider's web that needs connecting to another 1,000 spider's webs. You'd use Chainlink to do it. And there isn't a competitor at the minute. And I don't believe in the foreseeable future there will be. So, obviously this isn't sponsored. This is a project that is going to run and run. And they didn't really run last cycle, because they weren't quite ready. We didn't have the adoption that we've got now. But they built. And you saw so many people slating Chainlink, calling it all the names under the sun. I think we bought Chainlink at $6, $7, I think. I think it'll keep running. We're going to move on. Let me know in chat, by the way, what you think about Chainlink. Let me know if you like it, what you don't like about it. Do you prefer Pyth, long way behind Chainlink, or is there somebody else that you like that does something similar? Because I can't find anybody. Cardano gets a Wall Street boost with Nasdaq index inclusion. ADA community reacts. Again, there are a few communities that are hated on. XRP, Solana, Cardano. Those communities get hated on by each other. Ethereum gets thrown in there. People putting up charts of the price in 2021, 2022, 2023, all being the same price for Ethereum. Everybody has their detractors. And again, it's like school ground gangs. They just gang up on each other. But Cardano won't go away. It won't go away. 10th largest cryptocurrency by market cap. I think we need to start taking stable coins out of this. It's the 8th. What is a card? Who made that up? That's a terrible name. Sounds like cardigans. You don't want to call yourself cardigans. Cardigans. I like Ada Gang. It's got a nicer feel. Nasdaq has officially reconstituted its crypto US settlement price index to include Cardano. This serves as the benchmark for the Hashdex crypto ETF, a major step forward in bringing Cardano closer to Wall Street and traditional markets. Nasdaq has reconstituted the Nasdaq US settlement price. I've literally just read that out. Read that bit out as well. This is a major step forward. Read that bit out as well. Major decision ahead. Nasdaq filed a proposed rule change with the SEC seeking to include Cardano, XRP, and other cryptocurrencies in its ETF. We all know about this. Again, inclusion down here as well. This is the index, and this will make Tariq's eyes water. Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Sol, and ADA, absolutely. Chainlink is in there, and Litecoin. Now, we're not going to talk about XML and Uniswap, but Chainlink and Litecoin. Look at that, Litecoin is there. You know what? It's like the kid that always turns up at PE and you have to pick it for your team. It's like little Dave in the corner. He's too short to go in goals. He's too short to put on the wing. He's too short to play in midfield, but you've got to pick him because he's the last person left. That's Litecoin. Chainlink is in there, again, with the big hitters. So, you know, there are things that are missing from there. There's no BNB, for example. There's no Doge in there. There's no Tron. Some of the big ones are missing, but you know what? Who cares? It's all about Cardano. Cardano aren't going to go anywhere. And I keep telling you, until we see the Bitcoin DeFi projects built by Cardano, we need to hold off from being so bearish on Cardano. Because if they get this right, and Charles is convinced they've got it right, then Cardano is going to go to $5 or $6. And I am not being super bullish on that. I'm saying it because it's going to unlock 2.2 trillion. Now, if they get it right, they're going to have competition. I made the video about other ways of earning yield on Bitcoin, you know, the core DAOs of this world. I made a video about that, and there are some ways to earn yield on Bitcoin, but they don't really work properly just yet. You need specific wallets, you need specific blockchains, and it's finding a market that isn't quite ready, and that's Bitcoin DeFi or BTC DeFi or BTC Fi, I think it's called. But Cardano gets it right, and Cardano is connected to Chainlink, then suddenly the projects that sit dealing with Bitcoin DeFi are going to be connected to the rest of the blockchain through Cardano and through Chainlink. So Cardano has a massive 6 months ahead. I think it's going to be a massive success. But again, I can't sit here and tell you that wholeheartedly, but I can tell you that I hold a big bag of Cardano. I actually don't know what it is of my portfolio. Well, might be 5%, maybe a little bit less, I don't know. Right then, moving on to stupid headlines need to be called stupid headlines, and stupid statements need to be called out. And this is probably one of the most ridiculous things I have ever seen in crypto. Obviously not in the real world. The last-minute goal for Man City to win the title is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. Eric Trump confirms World Liberty Financial plans major buy of Trump. Why? Why? What am I doing? Why have I gone off looking at things? Let's go back. Oh, Jesus wept. Let me go back in here. Try that again. So, World Liberty Financial is going to buy a stake in a meme coin. That's the headline. But it's not what it's what Eric Trump said. I am proud to announce the Trump meme has aligned with World Liberty Financial. Their meme wallet isn't moving forward. Although their meme wallet isn't moving forward, they remain focused on building the most exciting meme on earth, Trump. Moreover, we're proud to announce that World Liberty Financial is involved. Now, again, what an absolute crock of crap that is. It's rubbish. This is vanity from the Trump family. This is vanity that they think they can do everything and win at everything. They've got a stable coin, a Bitcoin ETF. They've got their own WLF token. They are probably going to get an Ethereum ETF at some point in the very near future as well. And now they've got a meme coin. They don't need this. It's a joke. This is the worst move they've made for World Liberty Financial. The worst move they've made. And again, this actually does play off from them. I don't think it's going to do them any good. But it's not alone. The firm holds Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Tron, several stables. One of them is USD1, which is its own stable coin. Their portfolio also includes other tokens as well, which we've covered in the portfolio before. And again, I think this is trash. A good article, by the way, by Stephen Waldenbach. Good article, but I wouldn't be touching this anyway. That is 12 o'clock. Now, hang on. We've got one more thing to talk about. I'm just going to bring this up, and then I am going to put it on full camera to talk about this, because this is the left wing are often accused of being communists, for a better of a word. The right wing are often accused of being other things and other people which we can't name names. Okay. Now, that is Javier Milei from Argentina, who I think, on the whole, is doing a great job. They are slightly out of debt. Their currency is not going to zero. There are a lot of headaches because they've closed down a lot of departments. There's a lot of unemployed people. I get all of that, wholeheartedly get all of that. But you have to break the system of debt. Otherwise, you just are not going to exist. Now, let me just give me 1 second to do this while I talk about this. Right, I can explain what's happened in there in 2 minutes. Javier Milei promoted a coin called Libra. The Libra coin ended up on his desk because of his sister. His sister knows what we could only call as a crypto cabal member, who we won't mention the name of on here. He got Milei's sister to convince Milei to talk about it, which he did, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And the token pumped and absolutely crashed to almost zero in the time it took me to sleep. He went to court, and the judge ruled that he did that off his own back. Even though he is the president of Argentina, even though he did it on his official account, even though he did it while acting as the president of Argentina, the judge has ruled it was a personal tweet. Now, I don't care who you are, left or right, that is BS. It's utterly nonsense. But unfortunately, you get corruption on both sides, the left and the right. Okay? They're 2 sides of the same coin. Remember that. They're 2 sides of the same coin. The left want more people for cheaper labour, and they want to reduce wealth. The right want to accumulate all the wealth and reduce the number of people. Okay? This is not a good thing that he has got off with this. Trump is pretty much running a private company via his sons whilst president of America and talking about crypto in a light. He's not in crypto to help crypto. He's in crypto to make the Americans a lot of money and himself a lot of money. And that's pretty much it. And I better not say too much more. Anyway, 12:03. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you for tuning in. You are all great. I will see you tomorrow. Don't forget, Wednesday night is quiz night, and the Oracle is streaming, I think, at 9 o'clock tonight. So, have a great day. Thank you to Solo Sky, Tariq, KB, Mags, everybody for joining me. I will see you all in the morning. Take care.